update on my 220-gallon reef tank. This tank has been running for about 2 years now, with a big tank move about 6 months ago that kind of set me back a lot, but the tank is doing really well. I mean, I'm proud to say that the tank is finally blossoming out of the ugly stage and showing stability and maturity. The best, most anticipated part of a new tank build, so I'm very happy for that. But there are several issues that I still need to work through that are becoming kind of a problem, a really big problem at that. Hopefully you guys have some good advice for me because it is driving me crazy. If you're new here, hello, howdy, hi. My name is Stephanie and I make silly videos documenting my journey in the reef tank keeping hobby. So if you're like me and are also silly and like the reef tanks, make sure to smash that subscribe right now. So I'm not gonna lie, I've been a bad reef keeper recently. My schedule has been busy, and every time I say I'm going to sit down and go elbow deep in some tank maintenance, something always seems to get in the way. I know that there's not much that I can say that can excuse this behavior. You have to find time somehow, or what are you doing, you know? Maybe it's a tiny bit of lack of enthusiasm with the hobby, you know, that happens from time to time, whatever. Or maybe it's just laziness, I don't know. But I've put off a lot of things that need to be done that I keep saying that I'll do, but never actually get around to doing, and then put off until next week, and then that next week becomes 2 weeks, and just, you know? I mean, just take a look at the back of that glass. And the sides of the tank, despicable. Honestly, despicable. So yeah, that's where most of my complaints about my tank stem from. You know, lack of husbandry, self-induced stress, shameful, I know. You know, I'm really lucky that my tank is nice and stable and reaching that level of good maturity. Otherwise, I would be screwed right now. And I really owe that lovely stability and signs of maturity to one thing and one thing alone: this magic crypto rock that I recently acquired. Y'all, I managed to score this piece of rock from a fellow hobbyist that has been sitting in their Cryptic refugium for, get this, over 10 years. Over 10 years, y'all. Over 10 years. That's right. Old, mature, live ocean rock filled with sponges and that good wild bacteria. I can attest that this rock has super driven my tank into being established and showing great signs of maturity. I mean, I don't know why for certain. I think it's the bacteria from the rock from the ocean and the fact that it's like mature and established and been sitting in a tank for like 10 years. And also those sponges. You know, those sponges, that's where the magic is. Old reef tanks have a higher population of sponges, and there's a possibility that those sponges improve water quality, you know, because they filter the water and they pick up silicates and whatnot. I mean, sponges are the true keys here. I mean, you cannot have enough sponges are awesome. Either way, the second I added that rock into my tank, things really started to look up. And now, looking at my sump, look at this. The sponges have taken over the wall, and they're really thriving in here. Y'all, this magic rock is the best decision I have ever made, I'll tell you what. I mean, the corals are growing like crazy. Look at the hammers in the Ghani garden. I mean, they're practically growing on each other, which isn't really good. I definitely have to frag down those hammers. It's getting out of control, really. But I mean, even the chalices have taken off. These guys are originally 3 different pieces from the same colony, and look at them, bright as ever, just encrusting on the rock and growing in together, which is really nice. And that half-inch Anaracropora that was left for dead on my sand bed is a little green bush now, you know, a thriving little green bush. It's wonderful. Frog spawn, thriving. Meat coral, double in size. Bubble coral, still a monster. But most exciting of all, y'all, the new acro frags have grown. Look at the difference, y'all. Look at that difference. Oh my gosh. Look at that difference, y'all. This makes my heart warm because I was really worried about adding acros again after that devastating bacteria bloom that wiped out my old ones back a year ago. If y'all remember, I never got over that, you know, but I've always dreamed of a mixed reef tank with just giant acropora colonies. I mean, come on. How sexy would that look in here? You know, all of these remaining spots on these ledges, just these giant sexy acro colonies. I mean, that is so nice. But not only have my little tester acros grown, but they're thriving as well. I mean, look at that polyp extension. Look at it. Look at it. Isn't that the happiest little tenuous you've ever seen? I mean, even Speed Reefer Corals, who I got these guys from, couldn't believe the amount of PE that these guys are giving me. If that's not the best compliment I've ever received, I mean, I don't know what is. I mean, I still have to increase the flow on my power heads because the guys on the left, like this Millie and this Wild Piece, they've grown, but just not as much as I'd like. And especially the Millie, like not as much polyp extension. So you can tell that they could definitely use a bit more flow here. So it's something I do have to adjust. But otherwise, I am so genuinely happy that the acros are doing well. They were a proof of concept as to whether I can keep acros successfully, and you know, the proof has been met. So I'm really excited to add more acros in the future. I have my eye out for them now. I mean, I've always had my eye out for them because, as y'all know, they're my favorite corals, but this is especially exciting time, and the tank is really gonna take off here. Just watch. In the next few months, acros all over the place, y'all. Acros everywhere. But the magic rock that I added to my sump and this newfound stability that I've gotten from it haven't saved me from everything. My lack of good husbandry practices have made the Aptasia that I have been battling with so much worse. I mean, the infestation is so much worse. It's so freaking bad, y'all. I feel like I'm going to have a panic attack just looking at them all. I mean, just my luck, it's like the fast growing kind of Aptasia, so it's truly taken over every small crevice, everywhere you look. Aptasia, Aptasia, Aptasia. I mean, you know, I'm always so nervous to hand remove Aptasia. It's something about having to drain the water and be so careful to not hit any other corals nearby. I don't know, it's just really stressful. So this did not help my motivation to get this taken care of at all. But at this point, hand removal ain't gonna cut it. It ain't gonna cut it anymore. It is everywhere. I will have to be super diligent in hand removing moving forward. I mean, hopefully I can get more comfortable with the process because I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna have to be doing this like every week, y'all. Like Aptasia removal Sundays. Like that's gonna have to be a thing if I ever want to see through this. I mean, it's just gonna be Aptasia removal Sunday. Every Sunday we remove Aptasia. Like it's just gonna have to make it part of the routine. I mean, I wish so badly I had other options to assist me instead of just hand removal. I mean, I really dream of a copper band. I mean, so badly. This is like my one fish that would just make my life, because not only are they just so gorgeous, but I could really use its help in Aptasia removal right now. I mean, but I can never find them, and if you do find them, they're not eating, and then you come back and they're either gone because they're eating and somebody swiped it, or they didn't make it because they didn't eat. And it just drives me crazy because I see everybody has a copper band in their tanks, and I'm just so jealous. I always try to like bribe people. I'm like, how much would you give up your copper band that's eating Aptasia? You know, people never will agree to it, no matter the sum. I mean, and I don't blame them, honestly, because it's like a diamond in the dust now. I mean, to have a copper band. I'm so frustrated that I cannot find one. I mean, best believe if I see one that is eating, that fish is coming home with me that day, that second. You know, my only other option alongside hand removal is Bergias. But that's another problem because I will need an insane amount of them. And I don't know if you've looked up Bergia prices recently, but they're costly little things, you know? The only way I could get away with using Bergias is if I breed them. But that means like setting up a whole new tank, a whole new system to breed them in. And that's like a whole thing in itself. Like if I've been this lazy removing Aptasia, am I really gonna set up a tank for breeding the Bergias? I mean, I could definitely see myself putting that off. And it's like, I can't afford to put this off. I mean, this is all gonna have to be done in conjunction. This is definitely the plan. I'm having trouble finding Bergias though, like to top that off. So even if I did set up that tank today, it's like, can I even find the Bergias? You know, hit me up if you have Bergias, please, because I am in need of something. I need some help. I mean, I'm really just angry at myself for letting it get this bad, you know? know? But I have no choice. It's time to buckle down. It's time to buckle down and take this Aptasia seriously this time because it is such an eyesore. I am sick of it. Also, haven't gotten around to any of the other projects I said I'd get to, like the cable management situation and, you know, setting up that Apex and that Trident that have been sitting in my garage for 2 years. Look, I know it's bad. I know I'm bad. I'm being a bad reef keeper, y'all. I'm gonna admit it. It's just everything about my tank is overwhelming me right now, honestly. Somebody please reassure me because I am going crazy. I'm getting overwhelmed. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. But in good news, the powder blue that I recently added into my tank has been settling in nicely for the most part. He's eating really well and has even taken to the fish flakes, the mysis flakes, which is good. Eating all the foods actually and nibbling that seaweed. He loves to nibble the seaweed, and he's taught all of my other fish to nibble from the seaweed clip as well, which is awesome. He has had some dark spots that appeared on his side, so I may have to take him out and medicate him, but I think it could be due to the stress of the introduction. It seems like it's getting better and not worse though, which is good, but I'm definitely keeping an eye on him. I know a lot of y'all mentioned in my last video how I am screwed in terms of fish selection moving forward, but I want to let you guys know that I've decided against adding more tangs to this tank. I understand why that wouldn't be a good idea, and honestly, I'm okay with that. It's like, I love tangs, but I'm not as crazy about them as like other people are. You know, people like to pack as many tangs as they can. I'm about one or two. Like I have a Tamini and now a powder blue, and I'm okay with that. Like just that. And I mean, I love this fish too much now. It's too late, y'all. I will not give this fish up, but any future additions I will be adding would only be Anthias, schools of Anthias, and maybe a wrasse. And that's if I get this whole Bergia Aptasia issue, you know, behind me. But no tanks, don't worry. And that is how my tank is doing. Thriving in terms of stability and maturity, but definitely have a lot to work on based on my lack of husbandry. Please comment your Aptasia reassurances and let me know if you have any tips on getting those harder to reach buggers. I'm at my wits end, y'all. I am at my wits end.